This is Pat Walker, Mission Winners, doing a video overview of the ETFs. Why do we look at the ETFs? It's not that we like to look at a bunch of charts. It's that we have a limited amount of money and a limited amount of time, and we want to use both assets wisely. By looking at the ETFs, we can see areas, pockets of strength and pockets of weakness, areas to possibly put money into, but also areas to avoid. Both foundations, observations are useful for us. So let's go in here and see what's going on. And remember this, leading groups produce leading stocks produce leading groups. You can always look at the ticker symbol up here and what it is, robotics. And you can see on the weekly, it's fallen on fairly heavy volume. And this is a good maxim, all right? Just something to remember. Opportunities are better above a rising 50-day moving average line. Okay, I'm not saying never look below the 50, but opportunities are better above a rising 50-day. That's the green line here on the daily. This is weekly on the left and daily on the right, as I cited. And you can see it's below here. There's not a lot of power. It tells us to be careful. Here's the next one for us. Cloud computing. Now this one's starting to improve a little bit. And you can see there was a little bit of volume coming into it on Thursday. What's the best thing this could do? And it's above the rising 50-day. It's starting to show a little more strength. It's been weak for a while. Perhaps it'll form a handle here. Now you can say, well, maybe you could buy the cloud computing ETF, CLOU, but also you could look at some cloud computing stocks and see how they're acting. It's not extremely strong leadership, but it is improving. And that's good to see. Dow Diamonds still just kind of going sideways, okay? It's improved a little bit. It was lagging, but it's back above the moving average line. I put this on here as a service. I'm not really enamored with the Dow. It's 30 stocks. It's price weighted. It's narrow. I like looking at the NASDAQ. I look at NASDAQ 100. I look at the S&P 500. Broader market indicators, broader market indices. Let's continue onwards. Here we go. Dow Jones Internet. Now look at this. Internet technology is picking up a little bit. Oh, that's good to see. Maybe looking at the technology internet area. Isn't that great? IBD 50. It's picked up some, but it's still below the falling 50-day. It just shows you there's been some weakness in that area, okay? And that's not a criticism of an IBD. No way. Great paper, but the idea that the IBD 50 still is lagging as far as performance is concerned. So just something to be aware of. First Trust, Dorsey, right? Picking up a little bit on the daily. Still a lot of overhead supply on the weekly too. This is why we look at the weekly chart. You can say, oh, I see it's picking up, but look at all this over here. You got to be a little careful with that. And the stocks that are in that group continue, or that ETF. China's still lagging. There's nothing to do with it. I mean, it's picked up some, folks, but look at all this. It's a little sloppy. The one saving grace is this, and there's two things, and this is why we look at both weekly and daily. It's above the 50-day now on a pickup in volume, and it had a pickup in volume on the weekly. But as you can see on the weekly, there's overhead supply here. I'll just draw this for you. And this also coincides with up here on the daily. And you can see some overhead supply. Just got to be a little careful with it, but it is improving. Gold miners still lagging. Look at this. It's below the fallen 50. Just leave it alone. Maybe it's going to bounce. Why play the maybe game? I'd rather find where there is strength. Strength begets strength. Key on that and life's better. Here we go. Gold's picked up a little bit, but still a lot of overhead, not a lot of power there. And look what this did. Friday, the market lifted off. This gaps up and reverses and closes down below where it opened. It was met with selling. Right there's the open and there's the close. That's a powerful tactic that we talk about at Mission Winners. There you go. That helps us. Biotech's picking up a little bit. It's above the moving averages. Maybe going across these tops here. The key point is this. It's improving a little bit. Okay, that's good. By the way, what's probably been the most predominant word that I've said in this entire video so far at 4.5 minutes? Improving. There we go. Oil and gas. What word am I going to use? You know it. It's improving some. It's been kind of trending up, and that's nice to see. It has been acting okay. Some energy stocks. There you go. All right. You see how you connect the dots? There's a cup and a handle on the weekly too that it broke out. And here's the daily with a volume pickup. So what could you do? You could punch up IEO and say, oh, there's some stocks in that I might want to look into. In the energy, you can punch up IEO, as I said. Look at the top 5 stocks, top 10. That can help you systematize, and we like that. Continue onwards. Technology's picking up a little bit. Software. You see this? That's nice to see. What has this been telling us? Oh, the rally's spreading out a little bit into some other areas. Now, medicine's still lagging. What does this tell us? Be careful with medical stocks. Look at that. I mean, compare and contrast. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. Medicine, lagging. Be careful with medicine. Mid-cap, picking up a little bit. iShares mid-cap shows the rally spreading out a little bit. That's good to see. Continue onwards. Aerospace and defense, it's okay. It's still pretty sloppy here, though, folks. It is improving, but you can see this is choppy. Be careful. This is an important lesson. Be careful with action like this. It can, oh, it goes up. This is it. Oh, gosh, it goes down. Oh, it goes up. Oh, gosh, it goes up. Oh, it goes up. Oh, gee. Back and forth. Let it base and then break out. Till then, be cautious. Home construction improving a little bit. Home construction was great for us this first part of this year. We had some runs in home building. Now, it fell hard on heavy volume, rallied up on less volume, and then fell on heavy volume, and then lifted up and decreasing volume. Needs to improve a little bit here. It's awfully loose. Be careful with home building at this point in time. Growth, S&P 500 growth, doesn't look too bad. It's improving too. Big cup and a handle on the weekly, cup with a high handle. Okay, that helps us. Small cap's improving, but still kind of lagging. All right, now, it is improving, and that's a plus. What does it tell us? The market's getting a little better. That's good to know. Real estate, it's below the 50-day. Improving some, but still below the 50-day. Be careful with that. Transports, there's not a lot of power in transports, folks. It's still below the fallen 50-day. Need to see some power over the 50-day. Green line's the 50-day, as I cited. So just watch that. Airlines grounded. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's dad humor. Okay, but you can see what I'm saying. It's in 1 second. I just showed you a bunch of charts that said, oh, that doesn't look too bad. No, that doesn't look too bad. There's nothing here. Well, maybe this is the bottom. Why play the maybe game? I'd rather look for something that is strong. Strength begets strength. That's good to remember. Continue onwards here. Regional banking's improved a little bit, but still a lot of overhead supply here. Look at this. Tons of overhead. This is why we look at weekly charts. It's like, oh, it don't look too bad on the daily. Look at all these people that own it up here and institutions that own it up here. They met with a lot of selling, so be careful with that group. Mid-cap's improving just a little bit. That's good to see. And what does that tell us? Well, again, the rally spread it out a little bit. Oil services, that's not too bad either, is it? Energy related. Look at that base. That's nice to see. And look at the volume on this. This doesn't look too bad going across those tops. And I'll do something as a service for us. There you go. Simple flat line. What catches your eye? It lifted up. It's approaching these old highs. And there was a volume pickup on Friday. They were voting for it. Needs to push over that line with volume. There we go. There's a potential idea. Pharmaceuticals improving a little bit. That's good to see. Here's a good lesson for you. Up on heavy volume, down on less volume, up on a pickup in volume. But note, it closed below where it opened. You see the little hash mark to the left and a little hash mark to the right? That's why we study these price and volume bars. It's met with a little selling pressure. Needs to take out these tops with volume, okay? Just for what it's worth, which I think is a lot. NASDAQ 100, it's improving, okay? It's lifting up here a little bit, and it looks good on the weekly. Gapped up and closed down below where it opened. This is called a bearish engulfing bar. It's not real bad, though, because the volume wasn't heavy. But we'd like to see some more power in the NASDAQ 100. QQQ, same situation as QLD. Retailing, it's okay, but nothing great. Look at what it did on Friday. Gaps up and closes below where it opens. It says maybe be careful with retailing stocks, okay? Silver, yeah, chopping back and forth, all right? I mean, lift a bit, but kind of choppy here. I mean, a lot of gaps. Be careful with gaps, folks. They can catch you both ways. So not the best candidate right now, all right? Steel picking up a little bit. Oh, that's good to see, by the way. good volume on this bar, lifted off, fell on some volume, gapped up again. But what does it say? Things are improving a little bit in the steel sector. Okay, semiconductors hanging in, they've improved a little bit. Maybe looking at some semiconductor stocks. Spiders, S&P 500, not acting too bad. It's improved some. Okay, there's still, though, a lot of fits and starts in the charts, in the stocks. So please always look for, this is for everybody, focus on leading stocks and leading groups, and the ETFs guide us, help guide us what are the leading groups. Avoid lagging groups, and always look for clean and simple chart entry. It will really help you, folks. I mean that, all right? Just for what, and that's important. And that's worth a lot. SSO, bearish engulfing bar on Friday, but it is starting to improve a little bit. This was some sloppy stuff here, right? And when it gets like this, you avoid it. But then when it starts to show a little life, you can add a little more exposure. There you go. We don't need to forecast. We let the market be our guide. Market action, price and volume, and it works. Solar, stay away. Look, there's nothing there, folks. Oh, this is the bottom. Why play the maybe game? Look for some strength, and there is none. Small cap improving just a little bit. Small cap leverage improving just a little bit. That's good to see. Uranium has been clicking. I had to say it. I'm sorry. Dad humor. But that's not looking too bad. All right. Maybe looking at some uranium stocks. That's acted okay for a little while. Oil is picking up. Now look at this. Here's another energy ETF. I've shown you two. Here's a third one that's picking up. That's good to see. That's connecting the dots, looking into energy. Right here, consumer discretionary, a little loose, not a lot of power there. Aerospace and defense improved a little bit. That's good to see. Biotechnology, it's still below the falling 50-day, folks. I have a maxim. I can't remember the last time I buy things below the falling 50-day. Okay, be really careful with that, especially in the ETF areas. Home building improving a little bit. That's good to see. By the way, you see this base here? I showed you another one. See that run? We were heavy in home building stocks, and had a good run in that. Starting to pick up again. Again, another group that's starting to improve. That's good to see. Materials. How do you build things? How do you build houses with materials? It's improving a little bit. Communications had a poor day here on Friday, but it did it on low volume. And it did have some better days in here too. Okay? See these tops right here, and I'll draw it for you. There you go. Just some clean tops, but it needs to take out those tops. It's showing, again, another group that's improving a little bit, and that's good. Energy. Oh, golly, let me think here. Energy. Oh, yeah, we've talked about a couple of energy ETFs. Here's another one. It's saying, look into some energy stocks. There you go. Financials, picking up a little bit. This is what I like. It's been really lagging, but it's starting to pick up. You like to see financials improving, okay? There you go. That helps us. Industrials picking up a little bit. That's good to see. Technology's picking up a little bit. That's good to see. Consumer staples. What does this tell us? They're not any good. Stay away from consumer staples. That's it. Avoid them. Why? Well, look. And I showed you a bunch that are improving and lifted up on Friday. This fell on Friday. Stay away from it. That's power. Healthcare, not a lot of power there. I'd leave them alone. Consumer discretionary, it's okay, but not a lot of power. Metals and mining picking up a little bit. See this? Here's the weekly. Here's the daily. Looking at some metals and mining. There's the ticker symbol. You always know that. Just wanted to point it out again. Oil and gas. Oh, oil, energy. Oh, yeah, energy. Do you see why we do this? I do this every day for the VIPs and for myself, looking for where there's strength and where there's weakness. And that helps us. Energy. Retail, it's okay. It's improved some, but not the best thing going right now. Be careful with that. Software's improving a little bit. That's good to see. And the MAXLIST. So here's Apple. Apple is lifting off, had a little shelf right here. Okay, it's below the 50-day when it did it. It is starting to pick up. There's no super clean entry at this point in time, but here's the plus. It's starting to turn a corner and pick up some. That's good to see. Volume, just okay. Not that great, but it is picking up. Price pays. Price pays. We like price backed by volume, but there's some improvement here. Continue onwards. Excuse me. Amazon's owned. Hold on a second. And it got a little whippy in here. All right. You can see when they gap up and they start to fall, you've got to be really careful with this. It is possibly going to start basing here a little bit more. I'm not saying it will. I don't forecast the future. Okay. Nobody knows the future. But if this could base and then start to take off again, that would be great. Note it did gap up and it closed, all right, in the bottom half of its range on the daily. So there's Amazon. Let's continue. I want to drag this over here a little bit. There we go. Now we're up to speed. Continue onwards. Alibaba gapped up, closed in the bottom half of its range. Not a real clean entry in here anywhere. There's no super clean base in here or entry. But here's the plus. It's starting to pick up some. That's good to see. Another MAXLIST stock. Same thing's true with BIDU. Starting to pick up a little bit. I like that. I'm not saying buy them, but you're seeing a theme here over and over. Some improvement, and that's good. Google ran up, started to drop here, and we sold it and locked it in, okay? We'll watch this, though, and we'll see if it can march. The action's been okay. Had a good bar here, but this was a tail bar here. This is a very important lesson. When a stock gaps up and runs up and closes in the bottom fourth of its daily range, that's a tail bar. It's indicating selling. The next day, Friday, it gaps up and it drops. So we'll have to watch and just see what happens with it, all right? Goldman Sachs, there's nothing to do with this. I mean, folks, compare and contrast. Here you go. You ready? We're going to do this real fast. You'll like this. Well, it's kind of trending up. It's kind of lifting up. It's picking up a little bit. It's okay. No problem. Well, it's not too bad. Let's pick up a little bit. Nothing. See the difference? Training our eyes and mind on what to look for really helps us. And until this starts showing some life above the 50-day, there's better fish to fry. Leave it alone. MasterCard's picked up here a little bit, had a base here, and it's steadily grinding up. That's good to see. That's a MAXLIST stock, okay? Lifting off here. No clean entry up here, but you can see it's been trending. Continue onwards. Meta was really good to us. I have to show you this. Back here, right in here. First buys on Meta. Here's the weekly, here's the daily. And I always talk about trends pay. Look at that move. More bought here, more bought here. Sold some. And it trended. Clean and simple flat bases. They work for us. Now, here it is a little bit below the 50-day. It's lost some power, and you can see, looking at price and volume, notice how this fell, and look at the selling volume on it, okay? And then it lifted up, but the buying power is less than the selling power. There's just not a lot of power in the stock at this point in time. Microsoft is the next. So we'll go back to this. If this starts to take out this top right here, and I'll draw this for you, let's be specific and precise. What's it need to do? Take out that line. This is the 50-day. Take out these tops and do it on really good volume. There's another very important lesson here. A lot of people don't talk about this or really maybe not even know it. Just because it's a green bar doesn't mean it's a good bar. Just because it's a red bar doesn't mean it's a bad bar. You can say, can you explain that or illustrate? Yes, I'll do this for you. Oh, this is a green bar. Look at this. Look at where it gapped up. It opened right near the highs. It closed in the bottom fourth of its daily range on a pickup in volume. Folks, it was met with selling on that bar. And that pretty much marked the top. From there, it just kind of fell. There you go. So that's a green bar. Just because it's a green bar doesn't mean it's a good bar. All right? Note the open, high, low, close, backed by volume. That will really help you make better decisions. Now let's flip the coin. Just because it's a red bar doesn't mean it's a bad bar. Look at with volume. Oh, that's a selling bar. No, look. Heavy volume. Oh, they sold it. It gapped down, it fell, and it closed in the top fourth of its daily range. They bought it, folks. They didn't sell it, they bought it. This bar gaps down, drops hard. And look at where it closes. It's about top third of its range on a pickup in volume. And it made a march here, and it made a march there. The moral of the story is, green bars, red bars, but note the open, high, low, close combined with volume action to make better investing decisions. That's for everybody. I hope it helps you. Microsoft is just basing here. What it needs to do is get across right there. These tops, that's the 50-day, and it needs to do it in really good volume. And if you note here on the daily, there's not a lot of green volume bars here. If you note on the weekly, there's not a lot of green volume bars on the weekly. There's not a lot of buying in it right now. Okay, so be cautious with that. Netflix is starting to pick up. Had a little shelf right here. All right, that's good to see. Here's the weekly, doesn't look too bad. Here's the daily, and you can see, I'll refresh this for us. There we go, it was correct. What's it need to do? See these tops right here? And I'm going to draw this for you to help you. And this is simple chart analysis, folks. This isn't anything elaborate, all right? It's just a clean and simple flat base. That's it. What's it need to do? And I'll do this. I'll clean this up for you too. That's the daily. Here's the weekly. That's why I like weekly and daily. When I do my scans for the team, that's what I do. There's the weekly and there's the daily. It needs to take out that top. And what does it need to do? It needs to take out this line. It needs to take it out on volume. There we go. There's a plan. Now we have a plan. And we need a good market too. Continue onwards. NVIDIA started to lift up. I'll shrink this just a bit to make it better to see. Lift it up. Okay. Good volume coming into it. That's a tail bar. You got to be careful with those. See this where it gaps up and reverses down? This is why you've always got to be careful chasing gap ups. Now it's kind of loose. It's formed a high handle right here, and you can see it on the weekly. Notice I already have price alerts set. This takes out these tops here with volume. That could be a potential buy. Watch and see. But it's loose up here, so just control risk by not getting overly aggressive. Tesla started to lift up, take off. And we've seen that with quite a few stocks, right? What's this need to do? Push back above the 50-day, which is the green line. By the way, that's the 50-day simple. It needs to push above these tops, and it needs to do it. I'll just draw this for you to show you. There you go. And it needs to do it with volume. No volume, no buy. It's that simple. That really helps us. What's a slight negative? Well, it fell, as I stated, on fairly heavy volume on Friday. A pickup in volume. So what does that mean? It's met with selling up here. There's sellers up there. Again, I take it back and say it needs to take out that white line, and it needs to do it on volume. Visa's picking up. It's slower and steadier, but it's grinding up, okay? We'll have to watch and see if we can get this push on this, all right? What could be a potential trigger for a new buy or an add-on? Here's the weekly. You can see these tops on the weekly, and I'll draw this for you. It's just simple tops, folks. It's nothing fancy. That's what I like. Needs to push through here on heavy volume. That could be a new buy, or that could be an add-on if the market's okay.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.